Call to order the City Council meeting for City of East Grand Forks. It is Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. City Clerk, please call roll.
Mayor Steve Gander.
Here.
Council President Mark Olstead.
Here.
Council Vice President Tim Riepel.
Here.
Council Members Clarence Vetter.
Here.
Dale Helms.
Here.
Tim Johnson. Mark Demers. Brian Larson.
Here. Does term quorum please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Open forum and opportunity for members of the public to address the City Council on items not on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff, boards, and commissions for research in future council agendas if appropriate. Is anybody here that wants to address the council on items not on the agenda? I see none. Approval of minutes for the May 4th regular meeting and May 11th work session. Moved by Riepel.
Second.
Second by Larson. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Olstead.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes. Motion is carried. Scheduled bid lettings, there is none. Scheduled public hearings, there is none. Consent agenda. Items under the consent agenda will be adopted with one motion. However, council members may request individual items to be pulled from the consent agenda for discussion and action if they choose. Any council members want 3 through 5 pulled? If not, entertain a motion of 3 through 5, please.
Move.
Moved by Clarence, second by Demers. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Olstead.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes. Motion is carried. Acknowledge of receipt of reports of officers, boards, and commissions. Number 6, regular meeting minutes of Water, Light, Power, and Building Commission for April 21st, 2021. Communication, there is none. Old business, there is none. And under new business, number 7, consider awarding the annual sewer cleaning job to Johnson Jetline, Inc. for a total cost of $116,222.19. Moved by Riepel.
Second.
Second by Helms. Any questions or discussion? See none. Roll call, please.
Olstead.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes.
Carried. Number 8, consider adoption resolution number 21-05-33 declaring adequacy of petition and ordering preparation of report of feasibility for the paving of Sawgrass Court Northwest. Moved by Larson.
Second.
Second by Demers. Any questions or discussion? See none. Roll call, please.
Olstead.
Yes.
Demers.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Vetter.
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Riepel.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Number 9, consider approving the rezone of lots 15, 16, and 17, Block 1, Riverview 10th Edition, from R1 to R2 to replat and build twin homes, excuse me.
Move.
Moved by Demers.
Second.
Second by Riepel. Nancy.
Good evening, Council President, Council members. Just here tonight to go over the Planning Commission recommendation and some of the public response that we've had. For starters, I did want to hand out, we received a petition from a majority of the landowners in the area that live in that neighborhood, so I wanted to hand this to you, as well as you did receive 3 letters of opposition, and those 3 members are also on this list. One person did contact me after further discussion and review of what they were actually planning. She did ask to be removed, just so you'll note that. In keeping with our zoning ordinance, we allow for twin homes in in 3 of our residential zoning districts. R1 is a special use permit, R2, which is a 2-family residential, and then PUD, which is a mix of single family and twin homes, sometimes, larger units of housing. What they have requested today is to go from an R1 to an R2. They were originally going to buy the 4 single family lots, and they were going to build twin homes on so that there would be 1 unit on 2 lots and 1 unit on 3 and 4. Because of an easement that runs down the center of the 3rd and 4th lot and having to move utilities and a number of electrical items, they decided to purchase 3, reduce the size of those lots, and then build the 2 twin home units on those. The square footage right now, if you look at the proposed square footage, it comes close to, if not 3 of the lots meet our R1 requirements. They meet our R1 like length. The width is what they've reduced. The twin homes look representative of the ones that are over on Bigland and 13th, and as well as the ones on Kings Walk. So they will be quite large townhomes. That being said, the 3 things that we look at when we look at rezoning property is you want to know if this is an appropriate zoning for the property in terms of the way it's zoned now, which is R1, R2 being stuck in the middle of those R1, maybe not the appropriate zoning for this property because you're trying to pigeonhole a different zoning district inside of that. That being said, they could have come in as a special use permit in an R1, and special use permits, what they do is they're permitted provided they meet all the special conditions that we would place on it. One of them being a 0 lot line, a couple of others would be size, if it has a basement, those types of things. The second one, how would this zoning fit with the current city comprehensive plan? It does. It meets our current comprehensive plan. We like mixed zoning, housing types. We like to see them kind of all fall, as close to each other, provide a number of different variety of houses, opportunities for people to live. And then how does the zoning fit into the current zoning in the area? It doesn't necessarily fit because there are single-family homes in the area. However, there are twin homes fairly close and just down the street. So as far as that is concerned, the Planning Commission reviewed the questions, the opposition in terms of property value, twin homes or townhomes decrease property value. We have not noticed that with Mr. Robertson's townhomes. In fact, we haven't noticed that really with any townhomes in the city. Property values to continue to increase, and so we don't feel that that was a concern. Some of the members felt that because it was located next to the water tower, they felt that this was a good fit, and there's a reason why those lots haven't been sold in 7 years, because nobody wants those, and so that was their feeling. And so based on that, our Planning Commission recommended to approve the rezone. However, I'm just based on what our Planning Commission said, and I do know there are people here to speak on behalf that live in the neighborhood, so I can sit and give them the opportunity to speak. So,
Yeah, if you'd like to have some comments, come up to the mic. Please state your name and address.
Good evening, Council. My name is Barry Traub. I live at 126 Riverview Lane. And I just want to give a little information about Riverview Lane, just for context and kind of what we're dealing with here. Originally, there was 30 lots available on the Riverview 10th edition, and it's a looped street off of 20th Avenue Southeast, very close to South Point Elementary. And just recently, one of the lots got split into 2 with the adjacent owners getting half. So now we're down to, it's 29 lots. So the 2 owners got that lot and a half. So there's 29 lots in the 10th edition. On top of that, there's 4 lots on the north and south corners of Riverview Lane and 20th Avenue. Those are considered part of the Riverview 9th edition and are within the 350 feet of the development site in question. That's actually where I live. I live on the corner of 20th Avenue and Riverview Lane, so I've got to see all of the 10th edition being built. I moved in 2013. And again, I've got to see the whole 10th edition be developed. So in total, there's 33 total lots between the 9th and 10th edition on Riverview Lane. And out of those 33 lots, 21 lots have developed properties on them with Properties included are one-story ranch-style homes. There's split-level homes and also two-story style homes. And out of those 21 lots, 18 property owners had signed the petition opposing the rezoning application that is set forth. Of the 21 properties, 2 neighbors were unavailable to be reached in the last couple of days when we were going around with the petition. 1 neighbor was impartial and in favor of the rezoning. From the 33 total lots, 2 of the lots are currently under construction, and it looks like they should be finished up sometime this summer. 2 lots are waiting to break ground and begin construction, and of those 2 lots, one of the property owners has signed the petition in opposition before their construction has even began. 1 lot is, I believe, privately owned and currently for sale by owner. And that leaves us with only 7 lots left for sale, and that would be by Prairie Development. Again, that's only 7 lots are left out of the 33 in the development area. So just some comments for the council to consider before making their decision is the remaining lots should have no problem being developed into single-family homes. I was able to attend the city planner meeting last Thursday at noon, and it was talked about and agreed at that time that there should be no problem developing the remaining lots into single-family homes. It's just a matter of time and when. But there should be no problem with keeping the current zone as an R1 and developing those remaining 7 lots. Why would we want to rezone so few lots that are left to be developed? The intent of the Riverview additions, both 9 and 10, were for single-family lot development, and the property owners that purchased land in that area were based on the R1 zoning, and no multifamily or apartments would be developed on Riverview Lane. As an 8-year resident of East Grand Forks and living on Riverview Lane, it would just be disappointing to me and the neighbors that it would be rezoned at the finish line of development. I believe that there is enough opposition from the current residents of Riverview Lane for the City Council to reject the application to rezone and develop the twin homes in our neighborhood. So, thank you.
I'm going to just add to
Just want to make sure you state your name and address, please.
my name is Greg Storchin. I live on 1207 20th Avenue Southeast, the corner of Riverview. And I'm the longest living owner there. I was the first one there. I also, when I bought that land, I looked at the association over by Peabody's to buy land there. With my business, the association doesn't allow trailers, stuff like that. Wouldn't fit for me. So I bought over on Riverview Lane. The property then, I had bought 1.5 lots at that time, and behind me, going towards Riverview then, there was only 3 lots. I was asked by Curry then to split the lots again, so there could be more multifamily homes behind me, which would only been 5. So we went, there's 4, would have been 4. So we went from 3 to 4. Now, you guys are petitioning to add another one. So now we went from 3 all the way to 5. And you know, that isn't really, those are prime lots, right where, it's right next to the school. The only reason they haven't sold is there hasn't been houses built. Developer hasn't had time to build them. I mean, if you look at how many houses have been built in East Grand Forks, most of them are on the south end. It's closer to the school, people want to live there. I'm not saying that the multi-family homes or a twin home isn't going to sell. I'm not saying that. It just doesn't fit in. You want to move something like that down to Oakwood? That wouldn't have fit in then either. That's what I'm saying. It's not fitting into the character of the houses. And that's all I have to say. I oppose it that way. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm Angela Purdue. I'm in 114 Riverview, and I'm basically right there with where the last lots are at, so I get to see all the construction. We love construction. We love houses. We don't like the idea of twin homes. That is 3 small lots putting 4 families in 3 small areas. It's too tight. Like Greg was saying, it doesn't match the rest of our single-style homes at all. And that's why we're against it. We love construction. We would love it. I mean, the last 7 lots, it's so fun. The kids even love to watch it go. I mean, we got like over 30-some kids on that loop. And it's going to be fun, and we'd welcome more families. But if it's built, people will buy. In fact, 2 neighbors sold their houses in less than 2 weeks. In fact, one didn't even go on the market. They just marked it as sold and sold. So if it's built up, a single-family home, it will sell. Just no one has built in those lots yet. We just do not like the idea of putting twin homes being so crammed in such a space. That's all.
Does anybody else take any questions or comments from the council? Mr. Demers?
Thank you, Mr. President. For Ms. Ellis, what was this decision to go with the R2 versus R1 sub? Was that the developer's choice, or what?
That was the developer's choice.
And they did that because it's a simpler process, or it makes more sense? I just was wondering. You get my question, right?
Why they did it so that they could get the 4 lots instead of going through the conditional use permit and possibly placing restrictions on it. That conditional use permit, which I feel sometimes, or a special use permit, is a better fit for those types of things because they fall into that use, and when the use changes, that special use permit goes away. And so then so let's say, for example, we stated that they couldn't be rented. They had to be bought. So, if that owner purchased it and then someone else purchased it, that conditional use permit stays as long as it's available there. If by chance something happens, the twin homes are gone, or by chance somebody rents it, that special use permit, kind of holds true to that. If it's an R1, like a single family house, those are rentable right now to a family. So, it's more restrictions. But I think they did it simply so that they could reduce the size of the lots so that each person owned their lot. So.
Because the lot dimensions for R1 and R2 are different.
They are. R1s are larger.
What's the minimum width lot frontage?
The minimum lot frontage is, and I included the R1 zoning and R2 in your packet, but I'll pull it out. I just got to find them here, because I brought them with me.
Oh, I see it. 65 feet.
Okay, 65 feet. And
So
those are
short, like 5
60.
feet?
Yep, and right now what they're rezoning it to is 60. Lot depth is 120 for both. For an R2, it's 7,500 feet, and for an R1, it's 8,400 square feet for the lot size. And so 3 of the lots are almost already meeting the R1 requirements. It's the width that really is the noticeable change.
5 feet. Are those, there's twin homes 500 feet to the north and probably
Yes.
850,000 feet to the west. Are those R2 or are they R1?
Those are actually PUD.
Okay.
And so, and again, like I said, I'm not a big fan of taking, when you have 33 lots and they're all R1 and pigeonholing 3, or 4 R2 lots inside of that, nor am I a big fan of PUD because they require PUD plans, which become more restrictive, a little bit more covenant-like. However, if they would have gone with the R1 special use permit, I thought that was a better feel for it. But this was the request so that they could reduce those lots, so.
But you could, with a special use, you could reduce the size of the lot.
You could.
Is there a different timeline? What's the timeline for a special use permit?
It's no different.
No different.
Yep, 350 feet, Neighbors are notified, requires notification, 10 days, public hearing notice. Special use permits can be more restrictive than if you just rezone it. You rezone it, the lot size is there. If something were to happen, if it was, if you had damage to it over 50%, they could rebuild and they could meet all the R2 standards. So anything that's a permitted use in an R2. So to state them, what they said, you could put multifamily in an R2, provided that it meets a special use permit.
Well, I tend to think
So.
that, as you can see with my line of question, I'm wondering why we aren't doing an R1 special use.
It's all semantics. It's basically how the developer wants to attack it.
Do you know when is this for a 2021 build, or is this 2022 build, or do you know?
2021. I did notify Mr. Robertson of the petition. He wanted it to move forward. However, he had stated that he doesn't necessarily want to be that neighbor, that nobody wants to move in. But he said he couldn't understand from his point of view why they were so opposed to them, because his twin homes are
Nice.
he feels are beautiful and match the fit of a single family home. They're just connected by one wall.
And that's what
But again,
right. I get, and my point is I don't think that twin homes are out of character for that neighborhood. If you look at the whole point, I mean, twin homes are basically throughout, the thing. And I don't think there's anything that says that they decrease the values of homes. They don't become this super dense area. We have a developer that is interested in doing it. My only concern is what happens in the next phase, or why do something wrong to start, and then all of a sudden you have this I'm kind of I'd like to have things orderly. I'm kind of that Euclidean kind of just straight roads and straight zoning kind of thing. That's my only concern, really, is just why open up that R2 zoning for whatever, not that it brings in the riffraff or anything like that. That would end up being something that allows for something that would be out of character in the neighborhood.
And I think, when you look further into it, because twin homes are allowed on an R1, what you would be doing is you would be allowing the 0 lot line, but then you also kind of run into that risk of, so how does it fall into in terms of like a tax parcel? Do they combine as one because there's a single building sitting on it? And so then, there are a few questions that we would have to ask, because a lot of R1s that have twin homes on them, they're sitting on a single lot. It just has a twin home on it. And so then it's owned by, so each person either owns half, or one person owns half and rents out the other half, or they're both rented. That's how we typically see it in East Grand Forks. And then we do place the, special use conditions on it, which, is oftentimes where one owns one part of the building, one owns the other part of the building. They share, the upkeep and maintenance of the yard, those types of things. They have to agree to certain things in terms of replacing the shingles, those types of things. So I mean, they could have gone R1 and we could have done a few things. It is still kind of the clarity of, does it have to be one lot? How would we work it with a special use permit? So our R2 is clean. I mean, it's a clean rezone for a twin home. So
There's a risk here too that if the townhomes are not built, they could slap up any house they want on those lots, right?
yes, and anything other than a like a mobile manufactured home, but modular homes, your homework, yeah. We have a size requirement, a minimum size requirement of 900 square feet. And it has to have an attached garage, and that's about it.
Are there any other lots out there that he could look at doing this again?
Not any in, I don't think, in the Riverview Lane. I think there's only the one lot left that he was looking at purchasing, and because the easement ran between, that's why he did not. That's why he went with 3 lots instead of 4 lots. So
Query has something around the corner though there. On that. He has a couple.
there are a few empty lots out there, but last I had heard is, I receive phone calls just based on questions on what they can build, those types of things. So I think there are, I think a majority of them are close to being sold, which is what Mr. Traub told you, so. And just for clarity too, Ms. Perdue that's here, you do have her letter of opposition. So, and she was pretty clear in that. I thought she had displayed, her point of view adequately in that email. So I just want to make sure that you were aware that she is here, but she also did submit a letter and that you have that, so.
Thank you, Mr. President. I could go either way on this. What sways me is the opposition of the other property owners. That weighs heavily on me, so I will be voting no on this. Thank you.
Thank you. I was, when the land was purchased there, they knew that it was zoned for single-family housing, right?
They did. Yeah, and up till this point, they've all been sold as single family.
And now they want to go with that. My problem I have with it is I would have liked to seen it come to a work session so we had a little bit of knowledge about this or something before. And if it did, I didn't see it. But so we had a little knowledge before right now voting on yes or no, because I have a hard time voting for it knowing that.
And I apologize, I asked if I should bring it to a work session. It had not gone to the Planning Commission yet. We did have 10 agenda items, so we just felt that we would follow typical protocol where we bring it to a council meeting. So I apologize that I did not bring it to the work session.
Larson?
Nancy, why do we believe that there isn't already single-family homes built on these lots?
On which lot?
On the lots in question here, the lots that are open, why is there not already a single-family home there?
We don't know.
Is there something that I'm missing there with the water tower? Or?
No. Nope. I think most people assume that because the water tower is in its backyard, that's why they're not sold.
There's a small easement, but not big.
But no, it's a typical 10-foot easement. One of the lots has a side easement. Sometimes that deters sales, just simply because of fences or, putting in a detached shed. I personally would love to have a water tower in my backyard because then I wouldn't have a neighbor behind me. That's just me personally,
You can arrange it.
So maybe I should purchase it, yes. But I don't necessarily know if the fact that the water tower's to the south of it is why it's not selling.
Mayor?
I agree with some of what the residents have said and some of what the other council members have shared. And that is, I think if this had come into this plat at the time the plat was brought in the first place, then everybody who built there would have built with the knowledge of what could go into those lots. The minute you go R2, it does open up that vulnerability that could allow for other uses in there beyond what's being contemplated right at this time, so that's a concern. And maybe if we come around and do it through the R1 process and put on some conditions, probably we could make it a really good fit. If you have the opportunity to place some conditions and leaving it R1, probably you could make it an even better fit for the neighborhood. And that would be a good faith gesture on our part also, to come at it that way, to not come in the 11th hour to these neighbors and make such a change. The other thing we would want to always do is, to those folks living in twin homes, I know a whole bunch of people living in those. It's a great home, a great way of life. They're very happy there. and to the developers who have found a great niche, a product that's in high demand in our community, helps bring the price down a bit, and they just really like to live there. We'd want to send the signal to those developers also. We're going to try to find a way to make it work somewhere in our community, whatever that looks like. Whether it happens here or not, we are pro-development of all reasonable kinds of housing. So whichever way it goes, we would want to make sure that's clear. These are great homes, and we're really appreciative of all the developers who've made it a priority to come in here and build homes that our residents love. And so whatever is decided here, if it could stay R1, to me that is a show of good faith to the existing neighbors and may allow for a better fit even.
And I do agree with you, because the Cooley View lots that we had came in as a zone of PUD. So that did allow for, it was zoned PUD, they were set up for R1, but did allow that ability for R2 if they so wanted to go back and amend that PUD plan. So, from a planning commission or a planner standpoint, it doesn't really matter one way or another to us. We do have multifamily in the area in terms of mixed use of development, so it would solely be resting on, does it meet the look and feel? Is it something that the neighborhood wants? And from a petition standpoint, I think the neighborhood has spoke volumes with 19 people. I mean, that's a lot of people. So it one way or the other, I don't think the developer is going to not purchase the lots. I just think it'll be a change for him as to what he considers. So, but this is something that he's been building right now in town, and it's been selling well. So obviously as a developer, that's your first choice, is something that is selling. It doesn't necessarily mean that single family wouldn't sell either, so.
Yeah, I just said, Nancy, could you, when the Planning and Zoning Commission took this up, was that, and they took the vote on it, do you know, was that unanimous or was that a split vote?
It was, but we only had 4 members present, so.
And just for a comment to help Nancy, this was discussed at length, and Mr. Traub was there. And I know that Mr. Christensen actually, he went and took a look at the neighborhood, and he actually says, I got to be a little bit embarrassed because I drove down one of the roads and I looked and went, nope, I don't think that I would agree with it. However, if I was going to be putting it over in those lots over by the water tower, that would change my mind. And then he looked at the area and he says, oh, I'm confused. It's supposed to be over by the water tower. And so then what he did was he kind of changed his mind and voted in favor of it because he thought it would be a better fit under those circumstances. But
yeah. And so from looking at it from a planner standpoint, looking at my ordinance, I don't really see an issue with it. Looking at it from a homeowner standpoint, if you're told that you're going to buy a single family lot and the lots around you are going to be single family, I would probably be in the same position that they are. So it's not one of those, we have a strong feeling one way or the other. I guess it's up to the council to see, what their feelings are based on, public opinion and really how does it match what our intent of our policy is, which is, does it match the look and the feel? Is it going to meet the zoning in the area? And do we feel, it's a good fit? And those are a little more subjective, whereas, a zoning requirement is really pretty cut and dry, so.
And then in all due respect, Mr. Christensen, he did indicate for the neighbors to come and actually show and then and voice their concerns to this group live, not just them, based upon that this is the final decision-making authority here. Mm-hmm. So he invited them and asked them to show.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do we know if the rezone fails, what does that do to the clock? Does it affect,
if the rezone is denied, then obviously the replat would be off the table because it wouldn't meet the requirements of the rezone. And that would really be it. We would notify the developer, Mr. Robertson, and then he has 60 days to appeal that decision.
So the clock would essentially start over from zero if they want to start with a R1 special use?
If they were to come back, it would just be based on when we receive the application, then we start the process, which is how quickly I can get it in the paper, when it meets our planning commission meeting, the 10-day notification, the 10-day public notice in the paper, those types of things. So it could take 6 weeks. There's a couple of different ways of doing it. He could appeal it by reapplying and going through a different process, or he could just appeal the decision and see if you would reconsider based on new information. So.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? I see none. Roll call, please.
Olsted?
No.
Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
No.
Better?
No.
Helms?
No.
Riepel?
No. Motion fails.
Okay, so then the next one is
Move on. Great.
invalid.
Move on to number 11, claims.
Thank you.
Consider authorizing the city administrator, clerk, treasurer to issue payment of recommended bills and payroll.
Move.
Moved by Clarence. Better. Second. Second by Riepel. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes. It's carried. Move to suspend rules to discuss and vote on 22 federal project. Is there a motion? Move. Moved by Riepel. Is there a second? Second. Second by Demers. We have a roll call, please.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes. Motion is carried. So what we are doing with the suspension of rules is to, since we had to delay with some absence to our last meeting and our scheduled special meeting that we were to have last night, to discuss and vote on our 2022 federal project, that we need to make sure that we move forward and discuss what we want to do, and so that we can not jeopardize us losing our funds for this round. So I myself am in favor of moving forward with the 10th Street project, to have a project that would be a viable project that would help us down the long run to develop and hopefully increase the size of our industrial park down the road. If you haven't been on that road, I went down there with Jason and the mayor and Steve Emery. Luckily we had our seatbelts on, but it is pretty rough. Discussing out there that how people drive onto private property, drive around the bad portions of the road, is a major concern for me. I think that project is worthwhile, and I think that we should move forward with that. So, Mayor.
I went back out and took a bike ride. That's the best way to get a feel for the lay of the land. And again, thank you to Jason and Steve for taking us out and letting us really open up our minds to a variety of projects that could qualify. The panels, to me, that are failing along 5th Avenue Northeast. So if you all know where it is, but you go along Highway 2 until you get to the Shopco building and then go north. There's a good section that was replaced when the lights were changed, and then it's all broken up, or panels are broken up all the way up to like the Century Apartments and in between up to Heritage Days. That one, it seems to me, if we stay on top of it, we can do a panel here and a panel there and keep it pretty nice. As I look at Reinhardt Drive south to the city limits and making that an urban section, taking out the ditches, coming in with storm sewer and everything. That one should be done eventually, but we have a really nice asphalt patch on there that stabilized that. And it feels like that one's okay for right now, and probably for the next 4 or 8 years or whenever we can pick it up in our cycle. And so I'd have to say, and the Bigland roundabout, it would work great. I have no question that a roundabout would function really, really well, and it would solve the access problem. However, cost benefit, I do feel also that 10th into the industrial park is a higher priority based on the fact that it's a section of pavement that either doesn't exist or is beyond its usable life. It's broken up. It would be a chance for us to also deal with some water infiltration coming in there. And probably there are a lot of trucks that come and go from North Country Food Bank also. And there are times of year where they have a dickens of a time in and out of there. And all along through the whole industrial park. So that's the way it looks to me also.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please bear with me if I get into a coughing fit. These are federal dollars. With federal dollars, there's a number of hoops that you have to jump through. The federal government wants to make sure that this is a project that has been vetted, that it has been studied, that there's been public input. They don't want pet projects where it's one person saying, let's do this road, and lo and behold, we're going to use federal money to do it. The only project that meets all the federal guidelines is the roundabout at this point in time. If you want to study the industrial park, direct the MPO to do a study, and excuse me, they will make sure that there's the consultant that is hired, that there's public input, and that the end result will meet all the federal guidelines. Again, the only project that meets the federal guidelines right now is the roundabout, and that's my vote. Thank you.
Yeah, I would, I'm not going to sit here and go over everything all over and over again, but I would be in favor of the 10th Street one also.
You also have any comments at this time? Mr. Rippel?
I've got several customers out there, and going to them has done wonders for my vehicle. So I would definitely think that needs to be redone, and it will attract some business to the community.
Mr. Larson?
Yeah, just a question on procedure here with a even number of councilmen here today. Can you let me know how a tie works, please?
A tie vote would go to the mayor to break the tie.
Correct.
Simple. With that, if no one else has any comments, I would make a motion that we move forward with the 10th Street Northwest project for our 2022 federal project.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Riepel. Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Olsted?
Yes.
Demers?
No.
Larson?
No.
Better?
No.
Helms?
Yes.
Riepel?
Yes.
Tie. We can go to your Gander.
Waiting for Megan. Gander.
You're good.
Yes to 10th.
Passed. I would hope that we would get with our MPO to make sure that we take proper steps, Mr. Emery and city staff, and move forward, and also continually work toward looking at Bigland and what we need to do on there. So go from there. Not entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, excuse me, go to mayor for reports.
So under reports, just wanted to make everyone aware that we will be coming forward to one of our next work sessions to talk about a committee for creating a welcoming environment in our community for new arrivals. Grand Forks has gone through a similar process, and they've actually created a document, and they've enacted that document to guide them on making good services available to new arrivals. And it's likely we will bring forward a recommendation for an initial committee that will spend a year or so fleshing this out, and at the end of that year, a standing committee on the council, if we could, comprised of some members of the council, some members of the community, just to make sure that we're actively in the process. So a standing committee of maybe 5 to 7 members that would go forward and help guide and really receiving continual input from our residents and from some of the providers to those residents, just making sure that those connections are being made. So we'll come forward with a request for the formation of those 2 committees for your consideration. So you'll hear much more about it at that work session. And thank you to everyone who's gone through the process of how we're going to proceed with our federal sub-target project. And once again, I will be a broken record and say everybody on this council has my highest respect. The way that you think, the way that you process, the way that you fact find and listen to the community. And we're going to have some honest disagreements from time to time, but please know you have my highest respect, every single one of you, and even to the one not here, of course. And finally, the walleyes are biting on Lake of the Woods. You might want to get up there.
Good. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to publicly thank the President and the rest of the council for adjusting their schedules in the past couple weeks for me. Appreciate it.
Just nice to see the country going in the right direction again. Feels good. Other than that, that's it.
I like the mayor's idea there, but it sounds like a duplication of services. We could join their committee in Grand Forks like we've done with our chambers instead of creating all these new boards and commissions for that. So
if I could, we're going to use their document as a roadmap. So for sure, it's the work they've done. We'll fold that right in.
Otherwise, that's all I've got.
I just have a question for Mr. Golstead. Is there a legal definition of an infamous crime?
Would have to look at case law, but I don't think that it would be spelled out in a statute, that definition. So it could be defined by case law.
Okay, thank you. That's it, thank you.
Nothing for me, thank you.
I want to touch base too on what the mayor's talking about, the community project. You know, we met last week, and I think a lot of discussion was about how we were going to go about doing this. And I did raise some questions too of, again, like Mr. Riepel, about the dual services. And I think that was my biggest thing, was talking about, okay, let's not reinvent the wheel here. Let's make sure that what we have, and it more went to federal dollars and I guess services into what people in Polk County and East Grand Forks need services. So getting that lined up to make sure that we're not doubling up and that we're not, you know, creating something that's already there. And I even alluded to, would be nice if we had one-stop shop with both sides of the river. We could work together like we do in a lot of our mutual aid agreements or other stuff that we do across with both cities, be something that maybe we can look at down the road. But I think us getting to this point and moving forward with it, I think the biggest thing is that we need to make sure that with this time we're going to spend this next, ever how long it's going to be, up to 6-8 months to a year, that we're outlining our mission, our goals, and that we're doing what we need to be doing. And that once we're done with that, it's kind of almost like we did with, you know, our charter of how we operate and what our boundaries are. I think that's what we need to make sure, and that so that it's successful and that we are able to do what we're planning to do, not just walk through the motions, just to make sure that, you know, we as a city and all the other services from the schools to whatever else, that we are working together to make sure that we are doing the right thing. I just don't want to have it out there and like a figure that we're, you know, this is what we have. I actually want it to work. So I hope we spend some time looking at it and making sure that we have our outline done and, like I said, our mission, our goals, and so that we can be a success. So, Dave.
I only have one thing tonight. I just wanted to brag that I am, as of today, officially 1 year older, and I have kept what's left of my mind so far yet, so we'll see how this year works.
Mr. Golstead.
Nothing at this point, but I'm trying to look up infamous crime, and I think it would be case law.
Mr. Emery.
I have nothing else tonight.
Anything from the department heads? I don't know if anything from Mr. Stordahl online. I think he's the only one that's online, right? Doesn't look like it, so. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Helms. Second by Larson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.